One. This is Bruce Porter with the Wild West Crypto Show. We are here live broadcasting from the World Blockchain Summit. I have the ex-Prime Minister and current Parliament member, Mr. Taavi Rõivas. Yes,
correct.
And he's been very nice to sit down here with me. I'm really excited to talk with you. You know, the World Blockchain Summit has brought together a lot of the top leaders in government regulation, and I think it's one of their strong suits really is working with the governments. And you know, Estonia, as everybody knows, is one of the, I would say, havens, at least for the corporations. And so I wanted to ask you a little bit about that. How Estonia is positioning itself to be a leader in the blockchain space for companies?
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, historically, Estonia has been very strong in creating an overall economic environment. That means logical taxation, that means hassle-free bureaucracy, or as little bureaucracy as possible. And of course, historically, we have also been very prone to all sorts of technological developments. And that concludes also the need or kind of logical drive to understand more about crypto as well. And it has happened in a way that Estonia has been chosen by many companies as a source of their ICOs, as a legislation for their business. And of course, I think Estonian governments should continue to look into the new developments and make sure that the legislation is basically working together with the future or present day to a certain extent.
Well, that actually was absolutely my follow-up question, was how do you see things unfolding for the next, you know, in crypto, a year is like 4 years, right? So how do you see Estonia unfolding for the next year or two? How do you view maybe what would happen? I know banking is a big issue with a lot of the ICOs. They end up raising the money, and then it's hard for a lot of them to exchange things into fiat money. What are your feelings on how this is going to roll out with Estonia? What can we expect?
Well, it's of course difficult to predict the future, but in my opinion, what should happen is that there should be an understandable, fair playground for all companies. I think that should happen everywhere globally, that we don't necessarily need that some countries are blocking crypto at all, and some countries try to be crypto paradises. I hope that all countries will eventually understand that technology is developing, there will be new business models, and there needs to be a logical, not a kind of unrules-based, but a logical, transparent regulation so that companies that want to comply can easily comply and can kind of work legally. And also, of course, what many businesses have told me what they want is predictability. What will happen in the next years? They want to know that the government is not jumping from one position to another.
It is so important. You know, it's one of the issues, of course, we have in the U.S. I feel like you can hardly ever get a clear picture of everything. Even the SEC comes out last week, and they say, okay, now, you know, Ethereum is not a security. And so my phone is ringing. Well, Bruce, what does this mean? And it's hard, so I think that is absolutely fantastic. And I know Estonia is really, like I mentioned, a haven for crypto corporations. Now, as far as the World Blockchain Summit, tell me a little bit about your involvement here, and you know, why did you come? Of course, we're so excited to hear. But tell me a little bit about that relationship.
Well, I was invited to explain how governments and technology companies can work together, and how government could not be kind of automatically allergic to everything crypto. I was explaining the story of Estonia, how we started 16 years ago with introducing digital identity for everyone, and how that has led to a very, very digital society where all the government services are digital by default. Basically, that was in the year 2002. That was before blockchain was invented. We still have centralized authority against what to check the identity. But if you would do the same today from scratch, a lot of it could be done also using blockchain. And the Estonian government has, or different parts of Estonian government have been experimenting with blockchain usage as well. For example, the national health record of Estonia that is safeguarded by blockchain is much more secure than many health records around the world that are simply on paper kept in some cellars. I would argue that keeping your data on paper is probably the least secure way today.
Well, I would definitely agree with that. So that is really interesting. So going back over a decade, Estonia has been using this digital technology, and of course we'll see, I'm sure, more of it in this blockchain space. So even for voting and everything like this, everything is all digitized for Estonia. So we could certainly learn some things for that. So I really appreciate you coming on. You know, it's a real pleasure.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, sir. Wild West Crypto Show interviews. Taavi Rõivas. I think I got it right. I'm so sorry if I didn't.
You got it very well.
But absolutely fantastic. And we're coming to you live from the World Blockchain Summit. Thanks again. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Okay.